Hi, this is Michelle.
And I'm Anna.
And we're the moms next door.
Psych. That wasn't us. Those were other people, because I'm Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls next door. Talking about that spooky stuff.
Yeah, and the spooky moms that are also here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sort of.
They're here with us.
From beyond.
They're always with us. They're not dead. So we'll clarify.
But they are calling us.
Yeah, all the time.
From beyond.
Constantly. The state.
Yeah, beyond the state.
Beyond the state of mind.
Slash
physically.
Like, physical states.
So they're also elsewhere.
Because they live in other states.
They are away.
If you didn't get the joke, it's that they live in other states and that they call us a lot because they're overbearing and love us.
And on phones. On telephones. Like normal people who are alive. And
they're
not
just like,
ghosts.
we really messed them up. We need to check in on them every few days.
Yeah.
Making sure they're not dead because of the mistakes that we made.
Yeah.
Just kidding. They made, positive mistakes.
Yep.
That made us
Everyone
the people
makes
we
mistakes.
are today.
They're single moms.
Everybody has those days.
You're bound to make mistakes.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
We had to reassure our parents, our moms, that it's okay that they messed this up because now we're really cool.
That's literally, it was a whole 2-hour conversation with my mom where she was like, I was really excited to talk about this. And then I was really thinking about it. And then I just started to feel really bad that I made you so scared of everything. Yeah. And I was like, Mom, no, it's great. Because now I'm funny. And if I was normal, I wouldn't be funny.
We wouldn't have this cool podcast.
We wouldn't have this. You would not be able to listen to us say words about stuff.
Yep. So thank our moms. My mom thought it was hilarious, and she has not said sorry. She thinks she will take full responsibility for me for anything I do. Even if she didn't know I was doing that thing, and then it turns out I did, she's like, "Oh wow, you're welcome."
I did me?
Yeah, we did it. What do you mean?
I did it.
I did this. But she thought it was hilarious, all the funny stories that she has to say about me growing up and how she would torture us. And she still to this day just thinks it's the most funny thing. But yeah, no, I definitely thank my mom for her torture and the rest of my family, which you'll hear about.
She wasn't alone.
It was a whole family affair.
Here's mine.
Yeah. Everyone.
It was a whole community effort.
Yeah, definitely. How do we traumatize these children? And they did. And this is our episode 20. We're getting old now.
Yeah.
We're adults. So for our 10th episode, we talked about our first faves.
Sure did. We did.
So we talked about those things that were either so scary that we were never scared again. Thank you, Stephen King's Rose Red. 2 VHS taped long horror masterpiece.
Yes.
That traumatized me. Or you just did it in a really fun way, like Cat in the Ring. So then you weren't afraid anymore because it was a fun experience.
Yeah. Turning trauma into positive things.
Yes.
Art.
We do that. We're professionals. So this time we wanted to talk about how we have not always been this cool.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah. Just really wanted to bring you guys back. I feel like everyone's kind of getting hype about us and we just want to really bring you back down.
We're going to bring our down a level. Our heads are smaller. We're beneath you.
Yeah, if anything, our heads were getting too big. We're like, oh my God, we're getting so cool. Everyone loves us.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, we're terrible. Here are the reasons.
Yeah, you have one live show where 5 of your friends and then 6 strangers show up, and now you're like, are we famous now? We have a treat.
A treat?
Yeah, for the listeners.
Is it our moms?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are gifting you our mothers.
You can only borrow or rent. You can't own.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's mine.
Because we're millennials, and that's all we know. Is that you rent, you do not own. So you will.
We're not gonna pay.
Yeah. Okay. I can words. So we interviewed our moms so that you can get a glimpse into what scaredy little brats we used to be and why it's their fault. So it's kind of like a confession tape and, a deep explanation for our behavior and the existence of this podcast. And that is what we're bringing you for this part of our episode.
Back to the beginning, our origin stories.
Our origin stories. And who better to tell our origin stories than the people who brought us into this world and can take us out at any time. So we interviewed our moms, and we want you to take a listen to them for a little bit. You'll get a break from listening to us since we've talked so much since our live show. And it'll be a real treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
Be nice to my mom.
Our moms are really beautiful, and they're the best, and you should love them.
Yeah.
Because we do. So here's the moms next door.
Yeah. Give it up.
Spooky stuff.
What we're going to ask is what you remember my, I guess, 2 or 3 biggest fears being.
You were absolutely a weather hysteric from the time you were tiny. Basically, anytime it rained, it was like a hurricane. You also would ask if places had basements whenever we would go places, which was just odd. And, when the wind blew, it was a tornado. When it was, cloudy, we were going to have flooding. It was always like a disaster extreme situation. And it was just funny. And I remember as you got a little older even, I would almost try to keep you away from the windows because you would just get terrified, Well, unfortunately, some of your other fears were probably somewhat instilled or provoked by yours truly. I was a young mom, and, I sometimes, took for granted that you would get things that I guess, you just weren't at an age yet to get, and because I was because I was younger and I was an only child and I hadn't been around a ton of kids, so, for example, I remember when you were little, one time we had watched a scary movie, and you weren't that little. You were probably around 9, maybe even 10. And afterwards, I thought it would be a really funny idea to climb out my bedroom window on the porch roof and, jump up against your bedroom window. And, unfortunately, traumatizing you for life. I think you still have a weird fear about that exists to this day. And for a long time after that, you slept with a soccer trophy next to your bed. To the point I would almost be afraid to try to wake you up in the morning because I was always afraid of were you going to hit me? So,
Yeah, it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe that's where some of the sleep disorder stuff came from. I'm not really sure, but either way. But at the time, I thought it was, when the idea occurred to me, I thought it was the funniest thing I could ever have thought of. But obviously, I was mistaken.
In hindsight, it is the funniest thing. Because, I still remember that vividly, and I still think it's funny.
Well, that's good.
Honestly, when you get older, trauma just becomes funny, because, it's part of who you are. Your identity.
And other things, though, those were the 2 main ones. You needed to know where people were a lot, too, which was another thing. But that wasn't so much of a fear, I think, as you kind of always wanted to, know where everybody was. And, you needed to be able to see everything. That was it. But that was, you weren't a particularly terrified kid, I don't think, to my recollection anyway.
Well, were there any movies or anything that Kat watched that maybe she shouldn't have that maybe gave her nightmares or anything like that?
The Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, I believe it probably wasn't me. It was probably her stepdad. I don't think it was me. The Freddy Krueger, the first one. And I think that really absolutely terrified her. And I do actually, I just remembered something. I would also, in epic parenting style that I was really famous for, I started singing that horrible song to like freak her out a little. I knew it was terrible.
Is this the one too?
I'm a much
yeah, I
nicer
do.
person
Oh my god,
now.
I remember that.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
There you go.
Hey, you did sing that. Oh my god, I totally blacked that out of my memory. You sing that all the time.
Okay,
Oh
I don't think it was all the time, but it was, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I remember, not all the time, but I actually remember it and me being like, why?
Now, in my defense, again, real quickly though, it was truthfully because I just had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had zero malicious intent whatsoever. I just truthfully, like, that's how unprepared I was to, like, be a mom to, like, another, or, like, to take care of another human being at the time. And it's just, it's evidenced by that. It's kind of, I mean, not funny, but, like, looking back, it's, I guess, funny. I'm glad you said it was funny.
I think it's funny.
I'm going to go with
I'm
funny.
funny as hell now because of it.
Yeah.
So,
well, good. I'm really
we have
good.
a
I'm thrilled
podcast
I was able to contribute.
Like, Mom, if we get, like, super famous, it's because you made me funnier.
Yes.
For ridiculous.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go.
If we, like,
Well,
only watch Barney and stuff, I'd be really boring. Probably.
All right.
I'm all nervous now.
Oh, don't be nervous. You're just you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't Eddie put stuff in there I didn't say either.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it up so it says that you know. What specific films were like scared me when I was growing up? So kind of like Chuckie doll and like the story of Mem and stuff.
Okay. Well, yeah, I had found out how scared you really were of this little tiny foot doll that apparently was able to jump on like a 6-foot man, which had no sense. But after spending the weekend with your grandmother, she babysat for you, and I got you home. When I picked you up, it was like the last Chuckie. I think it was like Child's Play 3 or something, and you were all curled up in the bed with her, and you just having a good time, it looked like, until I got you home. And time for bed, and you only didn't have to just check the closets, the bed, the bathroom, the drawers. I had to actually lay down with you because you were afraid that little thing was going to sneak in the middle of the night and get you. You know, you was in a panic the whole time. Even in the car, you had to look around the back of the car, look in the front, look under the seat. He's going to be in here, I just know it, you know?
Oh, no.
You're just in a panic. Yeah, you couldn't even say the word Chuckie, and that was your cousin's name. I go, no, he's gonna get me.
Did you have like stories of like the family torturing me?
Oh yeah, definitely. Any chance they could get. We kind of tortured you kids, all of us, all my sisters and brothers, with the imaginary, which was not even real. We didn't even really have a name for it. He was just a raw. So anytime you kids didn't want to do anything and, you know, would try to give us a hard time about it, we would just torture you with, if you don't do it, the rod is going to get you. And, you know, we got a good laugh out of teasing you kids, and, you know, you'll be doing something like, oh, look out, there's a rod. You guys would take off running, you know, like, you didn't even really have a name. It was just a rod, you know? Yeah. And there was times, you know, Uncle Dino was a huge horror film with all kinds of, you know, Faces of Death and Basket Case and Pumpkinhead and all them, you know, massacres. And Lori Cat and Amanda definitely were like horror film buffs. And I remember a couple of times you've been watching the movies with them and just clenching the blanket and just in a pure panic, and they throw something at you. And oh, you want to talk about run and haul butt up the stairs, slide across the floor, underneath the table, hugging the chair, hoping somebody would come out and get you. And it wasn't one of the rods. We hoped it wasn't, you know? Yeah, you definitely was, which it really blows my mind that you've overcome this. You know, you could sit there and watch movies like The Strangers, which totally terrified me even as an adult. I was like, I can't even believe I'm watching this. You know, coming from being such a scaredy cat of, you know, anything lurking around the corner and a little 2-foot doll that, God, I don't even know, you know, how anybody could imagine that they could hurt something. Yeah. But it really, really boggles my mind that you overcame all that, because you definitely were a scared cat. Go over to uncles and unplug the lights and scare the crap out of you guys, bang on the windows, get on the roof, make all kinds of noises. You kids hid in the bedroom for like 2 days and you want to come out to eat. Scared someone's going to get you. I think you became intrigued because it scared you so much. You know, we always taught you kids that, not to fear certain things and to try to overcome it. I think you definitely overcame it. I think that you just forced yourself to watch them and to kind of understand, like, this ain't real, and, you manipulate the whole film because you're good at that, which I think, helped you to overcome that, because I'm telling you, you couldn't watch anything. All these kids, all the nieces and nephews love these scary movies, but you're like, I'm gone. They used to have to force you and bribe you, But, yeah, I mean, then here you are, Ghouls next door. I mean, you overcame a huge obstacle that, may not be bad to other people, but having a fear of, things unknown and monsters and ghosts and stuff like that, that could traumatize you for the rest of your life. But obviously, you overcame it. Who I said, who sits down for the whole weekend in the bed and watches the scariest little doll with a 2-year-old thinking she's not going to be fearful? I can't get her out of the frickin' closet, So you should call your grandmother and tell her thanks for, teaching you could overcome some big stuff.
Facts. Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Yeah, facts. Stuff facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
So we're back. It's us again.
Yeah. Not our moms, it's
Gabe
us.
and Kat, and not our moms anymore. So welcome back.
Dancing, you can't see it, but it was really dramatic thrash.
Kat was dancing. It was great. So I hope you enjoyed our mothers' voices. And I hope it told you a lot about our moms just by listening to them.
Yeah. You don't get to talk to them as much as we do. So, like, we felt like you needed to talk to them.
Yeah.
And now you have.
Yeah.
So now you can die with us.
Yep. So we're talking about our own fears and how they might have been perpetuated from our youth and being traumatized by our mothers and the movies that we watched and things like that, and kind of possibly where these fears stemmed from and what they mean. So we're going to give you a little education. You're going to see that we're human too.
We get to do Kat's favorite thing, which is explain why things are scary.
Yes.
Which actually ties into one of my fears, which is not understanding things or knowing what things are.
All right,
so
let's hear it,
I'm going to
Kat.
heal everybody by just like talking to them about everything.
Should we do like a ASMR, like some deep talking of just like, we're going to take you on a journey. We're going to discover your fears and we are going to defeat them together. Come with us.
I mean, I'm kind of probably just going to talk about them. And then if you want to fix them, cool. But if light's taught me anything, you can't change people who don't want to be changed, Gabe.
Yeah. But the first step is acknowledging you have a problem. So
this isn't like a funny thing that we're saying at all.
This is real.
But it's like really awkward to like whisper talk to you.
Let's address your first issue, which is that you probably have a phobia, listener. We're going to tell you what ours are, and then I want you to think about what yours is, and then I want you to tell us about it.
Yeah, and then I'm going to tell you all what the top 10 fears in the USA are. And then honestly, how you see like most of those in movies all the time, be it actual scary films or just like everyday movies that like directors just try to fuck with you.
Yeah.
As you heard my mom say, I had a lot of fears of just like things that I didn't know what they were, or I didn't know what the result would be, or like I couldn't see something. So I was like, no, what is that? What's that thing? And I just feel like it was like very much like I had this very big fear of like any kind of unknown thing, because as a kid you feel very powerless and like you don't have any control over your stuff or your life. So I felt like it was just very natural to feel just very, what can I control? What can I know? Like, how can I prepare myself for every inevitable disaster that clearly the world is just going to do, because that is what the world is. Movies taught me that. Yeah, that happens. Life taught me that.
Yeah.
Chaos is forever. And you have to just constantly prepare. So 5-year-old / young me, I don't know how old I was. I would say 5. I feel like it's not always 5. It's probably a lie.
5 approximately.
Was like a doomsday prepper for sure. Any sort of weather related things. I had different backpacks and kits for that. Which
They're impractical.
I still vividly remember doing it. I was like genuinely afraid. I remember doing it and being like, I need to prepare. Like it would be like raining, like drizzling. I'd be like, it is a hurricane. We must get the hurricane preparedness backpack. I have put my Beanie Babies in there, my blankets, my water bottle. I am ready to go. I abandoned my family and going into the wilderness. I will survive by myself. Except actually, that's not true. I think I always had like a plan to like go get my people too. Like my grandpa.
But first
you
have to establish safety, because you have to put the mask on yourself before you can assess the person next to you.
But like, it was honestly really funny, because that would be a part of my doomsday prep stuff, is like, even today, like if I think about like what the zombie apocalypse would be like, I'm thinking about who I'm going to like meet when it happens. And that also kind of like helps me line up who's important in my life. I would go to Gabe, like, you know, like save my friends. And then also like my mom, my brother, and yeah, you know, do that kind of stuff. But that like, most of my like movie fears are stemmed around that also, like not being able to control what's happening around me. It's like nightmares. Freddy Krueger, like you can't stop him.
Nope.
He's in your dreams. That's
And
your
you have
only
to sleep.
vulnerable state.
You have to sleep or you're crazy.
Yeah. Like that messed me up. Like things you have no control over stopping. And I still have a really big fear of that. I think that's like maybe my biggest fear is like dying because something happened to me that like I couldn't prevent. Like I've always been a firm believer that like if it was about will to live, I would survive.
Yeah.
But you can't do that if your head gets chopped off or if you have a brain aneurysm.
And you're in a magical fantasy world inside your brain.
Yeah, like, and also very much a fear of the mind, like that your reality isn't real. I think that's also been a very big fear of mine. I think I'm like genuinely scared that like I'm crazy. So those are my big ones.
Yeah. Well, you're probably not crazy if you're thinking that you're crazy. That's what people say, although it's not true.
We're all in the Matrix. I'm just saying. But I'm not trying to leave, so.
Yeah, I'm fine living here. Eat my body. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that the films that like my mother mentioned specifically were anything to do with fears that I have now. But that's not to say that my childhood didn't have something to do with it. So she did mention The Strangers, which is a really big part of it. And so I've mentioned this before that I grew up in a very paranoid household where there's like this, it wasn't so much a fear of strangers as much as it was a knowledge of the fact that people could be bad. And so there would always be like, we'd always watch Law and Order and the news. And like, if a kid went missing, I was sat in front of the TV to watch that happened.
Yeah,
and like
you
lectured.
could be that kid.
Yeah, like don't talk to strangers or they're going to steal you. Everyone wants to steal you all the time. And of course there'd be like the jokes where it's like, they'd bring you back. I was like, probably not, honestly. Like I was a pretty good kid. I'd probably be really passive if people abducted me. I'd be like, oh, I guess I live here now. And this is my life. Now I'd probably like kick some ass. But at the time, little Gabe probably would have just been like scared and cried and peed her pants. And grown up Gabe is not afraid to say so. But yeah, there's just always this fear of like trusting people, I guess. And that's definitely stemmed into what scares me now. So like psychological thrillers and things like that where the villain
creep
is the
is
person.
entirely that.
Yeah, well, even like one of my biggest fears would be like cannibalism. And that's like because animals killing you, like, okay, we can kill them. We're at the top of the like this pole, you know? But if another person is hunting you and you're in the dangerous game, the most dangerous game, that's like you totally change the entire world in the rules because now you have this intelligent being that is tracking and hunting you down to then like eat you or just murder you. So that always scared me. But it was also just like knowing that people have the capacity for evil and being afraid of that and like trusting them. So like Kat was explaining, and what we'll talk about in our film section is I had her watch Creep.
I have so many things to say about that movie now. Like it was really good.
It's truly like messes me up. And being a murderino and someone who loves true crime, it's kind of this weird like parallel that I am always surrounding myself with true crime books and films and podcasts so that I can learn more about how people are awful and can murder you. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll just keep fueling this fire and somehow still able to talk to people like I'm a normal person.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't smile at people on the bus because of that thing. I didn't even listen to it firsthand, but you told me about it. And I was like, no, I really don't want to get decapitated with like a butter knife in public. I just feel like that's not a thing that I want, because I smiled at somebody, which is the thing they tell you to do so that
you don't get murdered. There's no safe. There's nowhere safe. Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, The Strangers, what I thought was so impactful. And then also the French version of that film, which is Them, or They, one of those, is that at the end, spoiler alert, fast forward, is that they are asked, like, why are you doing this? And essentially, like in The Strangers, it's just like their answer is because you were home. So like they're going to do something to somebody and you just happen to be the one that was there. And then with They or Them, the French version, it's a group of kids who are doing this tormenting the same way that you're seeing in The Strangers. And at the end, when the police are like interviewing them, it's because they were bored. Like they murdered a couple and tormented them for an entire night because they were bored and their children.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
So like that kind of stuff is like what's terrifying to me. And in fact,
I'm with you.
And it's a logical fear. I would say I just keep, putting more in there and just keep submerging myself deeper and deeper under this like torrential wave of fear of strangers. In that I'm about to start reading The Stranger Beside Me, which is Anne Rule's book, who worked at a call center with Ted Bundy. And like, had talked to him and he like walked her to her car because he's like, there's a dangerous man out there. Meanwhile, he's like strangling women and biting their buttocks. That's the thing he did. But yeah, I'm about to read that. And I think that's really gonna take me on a ride emotionally. But I did do a fun thing just now where I Googled fear of strangers murdering you. And
what's it called?
It doesn't have a thing because it's just I think what they meant to say was common sense. Is what it is. Yeah. But what I got was the first thing was a WikiHow article on how to deal with a fear of being murdered. And so I wanted to take everyone on this ride. Where it's like, if you feel anxious and fearful of being the victim of a crime or even murdered, there are things you can do about it. So here's some quick steps. Yeah.
Carry weapons with you.
Always be on alert. The first thing is take steps to ensure your physical safety.
Yeah, that child that smiled at you, definitely going to murder you.
This is where like lock your door, leave your lights on at night or use a nightlight. Keep a cell phone with you and install an alarm system. This is reasonable. Another thing says be prepared if you live in a dangerous neighborhood.
Fuck.
Like, okay.
I'm glad our doors lock automatically, though, because otherwise you would yell at me every single day because, boy, do I forget to lock things.
Catherine? So, if you live in a dangerous neighborhood, Kat, you should always walk with another person. Okay. Avoid walking near dark areas. Like, what do you just don't go outside at night? What are you talking about? Join neighborhood watch groups. I don't think so. What do I look like? The man? If you're approaching your car, stick the individual keys on your keyring between your fingers like a cat's claw.
Or the Wolverine. Shit, that's great. I'm going to do that from now on.
This is good. Carry a loud alarm.
A large object.
No.
Continue.
Carry a loud alarm that you can set off in case someone approaches you.
It's just my mouth.
That's what it is, guys. There's learn to defend yourself. This is my favorite one. It is change your thoughts.
Yeah.
So just in case.
I can do that?
And it's
That's
just
crazy.
a lovely picture of just like three gals walking. Just 3 gals walking, changing their thoughts. And it just says, when you find yourself thinking about these fears, look for ways to think about something else. That's it. That's all. Just think about a different thing now. What are you doing? What have I been doing this wrong? Another thing, which I think
it's like, oh, are you anxious? Don't be.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Did you ever think about
tried?
Yeah, did you ever think about not doing that
That's so
instead?
crazy.
Yeah. Fix me. Totally. This one I think would be counteractive, and it's educate yourself.
Oh no.
Where it's like read statistics and learn. It's like that's when you're really convinced. Like that's what I do.
Then you just know it's gonna happen. Like you're extra convinced you're gonna die all the time.
This one is number 6 is face your fear, which is also a big
Seek
no.
out murder. Yeah.
Yes. Find people.
Murder other people.
Yes.
Be
I think that's-
proactive.
Yeah. Murder the murderers that are potentially.
Be on the offensive.
Yes. Just go out. Like they can't murder you if they're dead.
Yeah. So just by default, everyone's gonna murder you. So you should definitely murder them first.
Yes.
This just in.
Yeah.
First said here.
Kat, I think this is where you got yours, and it is make a plan of action. I will say the picture is a girl and she's writing a letter, but then there's a thought bubble and it's her sleeping in bed with a gun under her pillow.
Ah.
So be prepared and have a gun really close to your head.
At all
when you
times.
sleep.
They could totally like in shuffling go off and then murder your husband or
Yeah.
whoever you're with.
8 is practice being fearless. Just don't be scared. Again, just don't be scared.
That's so interesting.
If you're afraid to go into your garage at night, then build your courage by first opening the door and standing there for 1 minute.
Nah.
Yeah.
I feel like I would just wait for
That would
someone
be the
to
one
attack
day
me.
that like there's a murderer there.
Yeah. And it's just he's just fucking with you.
The next one says
He's just like, oh, thanks for opening that door and standing there
yeah,
for a
I've
while.
I've just like
I really got to plot out
it's
my
the
way of
sign.
killing you while you stood in that
I just
doorway.
walked into a different door while you were distracted, looking in your own door. The number 9 is be open with your emotions. And I just want to say, I'm just going to show Kat this picture and I just want you guys to hear her reaction. I don't really know what this girl is doing. She's doing something with her tongue.
She's losing her mind.
It's a great picture. But yeah, so be open. And then the last one is be aware if your fear is escalating into a phobia. So just like, are you just scared or are you like terrified?
I feel like everything that even if I have a mild fear of it, it is already far transcended into phobia territory.
Yeah.
Like I have had these thoughts for a while and it's just a thing now.
Yeah, this is just what we are. So that's like if you have what I find to be the common sense phobia, which is fear of a stranger murdering you, which is honestly very likely, given how often I hear about murder. It seems like it happens all the time. I have to constantly remind myself that is not the case. I just surround myself with it. So I'm like, do people just get murdered like all the time? And then I guess, yeah, but not as much as people get not murdered.
Yes.
So remember that.
We do still have a population problem.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're afraid, just stop. Just stop being afraid.
Yeah.
One, if you ever just think about that, okay? Stop thinking about being afraid and then you're not.
Oh.
Yep. So
Works for everything.
I fix all the phobias and let's hear about the other ones and we're going to fix them.
You're in love. Don't be in love with that person that doesn't love you back. Because
they'll never leave you if they're never there.
If you're anxious about something, don't be anxious.
Stop
if you're
being
sad,
anxious.
don't be sad.
Yeah,
just like
stop.
change your perspective. Wake up every day and just say hi to the sun. Some fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Fun.
Sun salutations, Gabe. It's a fucking yoga stuff. Which I'm not saying yoga's bad. I actually very much like yoga. But that's basically what it is you're saying hi to the sun. Salutations to the sun, Gabe.
My advice is like stand in your garage motionless for several minutes until you conquer your fear of the garage. And yours is say hello to the sun every morning and you'll get the fuck over it. So those are some words of advice from us.
Find a murderer.
Find a murderer. Murder them.
No, stand in front of them.
Find a murderer. Stand in front of them for a solid minute. make sure you have your
Say
keys
hi.
in your fingers like the Wolverine.
Say hi to him.
Say
though.
hi, and then change your thought. Change your thought. You know, maybe that murderer is your friend.
He's not going to murder you in that long period of time where you did this deliberation.
Every stranger is just a potential friend you haven't met yet.
Fucking God, I can't. Well, yeah, on that really
So
great and
amazing,
extremely
though.
entertaining
You're welcome, guys.
wiki article.
Yeah.
I was just going to go through the top 10 fears that we have here in America.
In America.
And
One is
honestly, some of them
communism.
I was a little surprised by because. So we're going to start
Is
with
it black
10.
people? No. Dang it. I thought I had that one.
It's not. I mean,
it's on the other list.
I feel like I went through the list already. I didn't see that in there. I'm not saying that's not true.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is America. Don't get too
Our thoughts are in the same place.
Yeah.
My husband. Oh. So your biggest fear is actually top 10.
Fear of strangers.
Trypophobia.
Oh yeah, that's a legit one. That's
The
an actual
fear
phobia.
of holes. So if you don't know this about Gabe, send her lots of images.
Don't
because she'll never be able to stop
I'll never
looking
be
at
able
them.
to stop.
So it's essentially a biological revulsion and culturally learned fears, the primary causes of trypophobia, which is extreme and irrational fear of holes. So essentially, as Gabe has told us before, it's just basically like you see something that has fucking holes in it and looks like it's rotting or dying, and you have a fear of like rotting and dying, so you don't like to look at it, and you get like mesmerized by it, and you like can't look away, and it like really
it
messes
makes you
you up.
disgusted because it's like disease.
Yeah.
But it becomes irrational because it's not actually just diseased flesh that makes you cringe. It's like a really microscopic zoom into the iris or certain corals.
Yeah.
Or just you're walking down the street and Gabe can't stop looking at the sidewalk and she's gritting her teeth. So let's move on.
Yeah. So then number 9 is aerophobia, which is fear of flying, which I didn't expect to be like such a big thing. You know?
Yeah, people are terrified of flying.
Well, people fly all the time though.
Yeah, but some people don't.
One thing I wanted to loop back to is when I originally mapped this out in my brain while we were talking, I planned to name films that play upon those fears.
Oh.
So for trypophobia, I mean, you had
It wasn't a film, but an American Horror Story.
American Horror Story, and then I feel like Cronenberg did that all
Cronenberg
the time.
super does it.
Yeah,
He's an asshole.
like just kind of like uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
Aerophobia, snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a plane.
Because guess what is number? Wait for it.
I'm waiting.
For it.
Edge of my seat.
Number 2 is snakes.
Oh.
So they took both of those and put them together.
Snakes is valid.
Yeah, no,
Those can
I
actually
didn't
hurt
even,
you.
we're on 9, so when we get to 2,
Yeah.
I will tell a whole story.
Okay.
But aerophobia. So I think there's also like an element of it that's like you're trapped up there. You cannot escape. And that's why it says that the biggest part of it is that like that's the fear. That if
Yeah.
something bad happens up there, you have no way to get out of there. You're just stuck. You're like on that plane. If the zombies took over, you're on that plane.
Yeah.
Kind of like that train movie, similar.
The
It's
Sound.
on a moving thing. Like you can't
Yeah.
get off.
And then there's also like the whole thing where it's like, if God wanted us to fly, He to give us wings. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we
Yeah.
don't. We just drive fast in cars instead.
Yeah.
You gotta.
We should have wheels. If we're going with that logic, I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where. Yeah. Okay.
So, number 8, mysophobia, which is fear of germs. So you'll see that in like any zombie movie. Just
Yeah.
like plagues.
Contagion.
Plagues of any variety are very scary. Like any sort of medical
Reasonable.
warfare. It's honestly, as you said, common sense.
The biggest murderer is like the Black
These
Plague.
are things that you should be scared of. Yeah, no, that's normal. But you see it in a lot of films because like just like naturally we are scared of those things.
Yeah.
7 is claustrophobia,
Yes.
which you've seen a lot of movies where it's like you're captured by somebody. So like the fear of being buried alive. I feel like the Saw movies play upon it. You're usually
Yeah.
like in a confined space.
Yeah. There's also like the ones where they're either like in caves, or like the one where they're in the catacombs. That one as well. So like being in those enclosed spaces and also underground, like that's a whole thing.
Astrophobia, which is the fear of thunder and lightning.
Astrophobia. It's fear of what now? I missed it. I was like,
Thunder and lightning.
thunder thighs.
So storms are a common occurrence in many parts of the world,
That's
obviously.
number 7?
Yeah. No, six.
6?
7 was
What is everyone
claustrophobia.
dogs? Because dogs are afraid
Did you
of
read the
lightning.
list?
No,
Oh, dogs are also on there.
I'm just I'm saying dogs are afraid of lightning, so I was accusing people of being dogs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the majority of sufferers of astrophobia are children.
I don't know any movies where I guess like The Perfect Storm, but that's the element of being out there and sea.
I had a very big fear of weather movies.
Tornadoes.
When I was little. Like, I obsessively had to watch them because, like,
Yeah.
what was it called? The one where the weather was fucking crazy.
Is it
Jake
The Day After
Gyllenhaal was on it.
Tomorrow?
The Day After Tomorrow. Like, where there's this, like, weather-based phenomenon.
It's because of the global warming.
like Ice
Learn a
Age
lesson.
too, like, but like not
with
cute animals, and instead frozen planets and extreme weather situations
Overnight,
that kill
the
everybody.
most ridiculous situation.
Number 5 is cynophobia, which is the fear of dogs.
Well, that's Cujo. Stephen King's to blame. Also, sometimes dogs bite you, and then you're traumatized. I had a friend who was bit on the butt by a dog.
But it says,
Hashtag not all
ironically, you can be scared of if you're scared of dogs. You have a high percentage, 36%. It's not like so high, but it's like kind of high to also be scared of cats. It's usually seen to be stemming from like the fear of spiders or snakes, like any kind of like animals that kind of get you. Mm-hmm. But I think the reason that it's such a fear is that dogs are very common. Where like snakes and spiders are not. I mean, spiders are, but like snakes not so much. You don't see snakes everywhere. That's just not a thing that you experience all the time.
Well, I think that would make it less common because then you have more opportunities to get over it.
So yeah, Cujo, I guess would be the example of that. Agoraphobia.
Yep.
Which
It's
is the
fear of
fear of
going
open
outside.
or crowded spaces.
Yeah.
So I have that in a less intense sense. I do not like crowds. I will like honestly like be in full like alert mode. Like you can't see everything and you can't be aware of everything around you.
And anything can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's like getting trampled.
Yeah, and there's the
like,
crowd
crowd
mentality where it's like something bad's happening in a crowd. Like people will think someone else is going to help and then they don't do anything. They don't help you.
I don't know of any movies that would really play exactly into that, but in Shameless, one of the characters has agoraphobia, and she like it's like the whole first season of her like not leaving and like her conquering it, which is I thought, and I had already know about agoraphobia because I was very interested in it, and I've written like stories and stuff about it. So seeing it on screen, I think Joan did a really good job of that.
Very cool.
So
Yeah.
news for you.
Then we have acrophobia, which is the fear of heights. It's number 3,
That one makes sense.
which you'll see a lot. I mean, having to like walk the plank in like across buildings and crap, like that's like always a big movie thing, being like higher up than you want to be and having to like deal with that and it being really scary.
It's like a mix of that and claustrophobia is like any elevator movie. Like Devil by M. Night.
Yeah. Then you have number 2 is Jesus Christ.
Snakes.
Ophidiophobia, the fear of snakes. Put those snakes on a plane. You're set.
Now we're super scared.
Yeah. So the fear of snakes is the second most common and affecting nearly 1/3 of all adult human population.
Including Indiana Jones.
Oh. And it stems from just like evolutionary roots. To an extent, the fear of venomous snakes is also essential for survival. So extreme word that means snake fear can affect one's life as one tends to avoid hiking, camping, or related activities about going outside.
It's also like religious ties too, because like the snake was the devil.
Yeah.
So, and like you're cast to like you're cursed to slither upon the ground. So it has that ties to it as well. And then there's like ties in like voodoo and other things because they're venomous, but they're also sweet babes.
No, I really
They're
don't
little
like snakes. I'm like actually very scared of snakes. And I didn't know I was scared of
sweet
snakes. So this is my
babies.
story. I didn't know I was scared of snakes. I like saw snakes as kids and I was like, that's fine.
You saw kid snakes?
Like when at school, like they brought a snake to school one time, like showed the class. Like I wasn't like terrified of it. I wasn't worried. But when I went hiking, like when I lived in New Jersey, like a snake like slithered near my foot over and over and over again. Like everywhere we walked, there were just like snakes hanging out on like the side of the path. And I had no idea I was scared of snakes until that moment when it like jolted away, and I lost my shit. Like, I was just like, oh my God. I was just like, no.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like everyone kind of is that way, like when it comes to that. Because it's one thing for there to be an animal handler. And you know that like that person's responsible for the snake. So you're under the impression that that snake is like chill. But in the nature, it's a chill snake. And then with like nature, it's like, that's probably a bad boy snake. And it wants to eat me. When I lived back in Florida, we'd have natural springs and you'd go down like the rivers and stuff. And if you were to get off and go onto the banks, if there's like the deep parts, you had to be really careful because there was water snakes and they would hide. Oh my God,
in Indiana, same thing.
Yeah, they like hide in the roots of the trees. So like you'd like climb on a tree to like get out of the river and there'd be a snake in there and it just get you and you can't see it and then it's gone and then you can't describe it to like paramedics and then you die. Strategy. Bad boy snakes.
And then number 1 is fear of spiders, which I just think is like, yeah, it's everybody.
That makes sense. I'm allergic to spiders.
Really?
Yeah.
Good to know.
Don't use it against me. But I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. I'm allergic, but I've never been afraid. Like, I think what scares me more than spiders are like house centipedes. Like all the legs. I guess for arachnophobia, and well, we had snakes on the plane for the snake one, but arachnophobia.
They just use spiders in a lot of stuff that's scary. And they'll usually make scary things look reminiscent of spiders. Like Alien. The alien babies are like reminiscent of spiders.
Pennywise or It in Stephen King's It, like one of its like main form is a spider. Spiders are your friends. No, they eat the bad things. They eat mosquitoes.
I don't mind little spiders. I don't like big ones. The big ones
old daddy long legs.
It could like eat you.
The last giant spider I'm going to mention is Harry Potter, and that's it.
Well, that one's nice. Yeah, but still
and creepy. I like creepy voice in the movie.
I'm just saying. No.
And Ron was like, why spiders? Because he's a little bitch. All right, well, so those are... On that note...
He's like the number 1 fear in America. So
yeah, it's spiders.
He's not the only one.
Let me just say, you're
also,
all
he's not in
stupid,
America. So he's ahead of the game.
And
he's doing
it
stuff.
Should be reverse. And the biggest fear should be trypophobia because it is in your head to remind you that disease is bad. These are all valid fears in one way or another.
Yeah, and I just feel like they're in every single movie all the time.
Yeah. And yeah, horror really plays on them and you discover fears even if you didn't have them. But so those are some info about fears. So if you have a fear of being murdered by strangers, we've fixed you. And if you have fear of all these other things, we supplied you with some really cool movies you can watch.
So like really just dive right in because that's face
you have to face it. You have to face the fear. That's how you get over it. You look a murderer in the face and you murder it.
Or you just know what films to avoid because, you know, you can also just be complacent in your fear.
Don't watch Cujo. If you're afraid of dogs, it isn't Marley and Me. Yeah. Go be afraid of stuff. It's fun. And then watch stuff and just torture yourself like we do.
Woo.
Yeah.
Films. We watch some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff.
All right. So we watch some films that scare us so that we could tell you about it and then you'd maybe you can go watch it or you can live through us and be scared. So one of the films that in recent history has scared me. So after I grew up and was this horror fan that I am and I was still the ghoul next door that you love. I was actually like 2 years ago I watched this film. And it gave me nightmares. Like I woke up in a cold sweat, which has not happened ever. And it just really played on those fears that we addressed. So the film I'm talking about is Creep, and it's by the Duplass brothers. So it's by my husband, Mark Duplass, who I love. And I hated that this movie made me afraid of him because I love him. So the premise of this film is Aaron answers an online ad and drives to a stranger's house to film him for the day. The man wants to make a movie for his unborn child, but his requests become more bizarre as the day goes along.
for Tuppy time.
Yes. So it gets bizarre pretty much immediately. But what really got me about this film is, so you're following Aaron, who's the videographer. So you're following Aaron, who's the videographer, who answered a Craigslist ad for this guy who's like, I just want you to follow me around for a day. I'm making this thing for my son because I'm dying. And he's like, okay, that I guess is kind of reasonable. But what really kind of spoke to me was that like the main character is doing a lot of weird stuff. So Mark Duplass's character does weird stuff, but he does it in incrementally small ways that just keep building. So even though they get really, really weird, they're not weird enough that you would leave. It's just weird enough to be like, well, that was strange. This is going to be a really funny story that I tell my friends. And like, even when you think it ends, it doesn't. And it just continues on with being even more terrifying. I don't want to really spoil it because I really want you guys to watch it. But the ending just really, because it's just like a lot of like being uncomfortable. And the fact that like, what do you do when you're put in this awkward situation with a stranger who's clearly very delicate?
And I think, I mean, what messed me up about it and watching it for the first time with you is that, like, the reason he died is because he was trying, like, even despite, like, his best instincts, he really just wanted to help this guy. And, like, being a good person is what led to him dying.
Well, I think
like, he wanted to help.
Yeah.
And that was the problem.
Well, he murdered other people. I think it's just that, and this is, I guess, spoilers for everyone, but he was his favorite. Yeah. Well,
Aaron
I'm saying
was innocent, and he was trying to,
I know, but I'm saying the creep murdered lots of people. But he said Aaron was his favorite because he trusted him. Like, there's, like, Creep 2, which we watched, and you can kind of see how he's, like, murdered a bunch of people, and that's just, like, a thing he does now. But in the first one, he truly likes Aaron because despite all of this creepy stuff that would have made anyone else run away, like at some point there really is like there shouldn't be any leeway. Like there's no reason for him to do what he does. And that just really messed with me. The like very blunt ending and how dry and just like it happened and they just let it just did. And that's it. And that's the end. And then you just have to exist with that. And knowing that like people get murdered all the time and could possibly do that. So it just really played on that guy being really nice and not knowing when to like call him a liar and just leave.
He was very much Robbie from New Girl.
He was like stuck with in his politeness. Like his politeness killed him. Like the fact that like he couldn't just be like, nah, fuck this, I'm getting out of here, because that would be rude, you know, and he didn't want to impose that, you know, like so he never really sensed danger because he didn't want to be rude. He didn't want to be a bother.
Yeah, and he was like, the story in this guy, he thought it was just like this mentally disturbed guy, and he like felt bad for this crazy dude who's like all alone, and probably thought like, you know, like how I do, where it's like something probably happened to him that made him this way, and it's not his fault probably, like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you want to help, and helping gets you killed. Urban Legends taught us that. All these other movies.
Helping gets you killed. And I will say that we watched Creep 2, which was my first time seeing it, and me and Kat have our favorite thing, which is there's a Free the Nipple campaign, but we have Free the Peen. If you watch Creep 2, you get to see Mark Duplass's penis. Yeah. So
Free the Peen.
Free the Peen. It is there, and it's there for a while. So
yeah, he like really see it.
He loves showing his
and you don't
penis.
see any vagina, which is like pretty dope.
I don't even think you see any tits.
You see her tits for like a second, but then he like turns it away, so it's just her face.
Yes. Oh yeah, you zoomed on her face, but you see penis. So it's refreshing, is what I want to say.
Yeah.
So definitely watch Creep 2. Definitely Creep. If you want to be afraid of strangers like myself, and just don't answer creepy Craigslist ads, guys. Like common sense. Again, it's the common sense phobia.
Yeah.
People can murder.
They are murderers.
Someone's acting weird. Just go away now. All right. And then for Kat, we had watched
Lights Out.
Lights Out. We watched Lights Out, which is based off of a short horror film, which
is also very scary. So if you don't even want to watch the whole thing, just watch that little YouTube video.
Honestly,
it'll fuck you up.
To me, I think Lights Out, the little film, the short film, is significantly creepier than full length film.
Oh, I will agree completely. Yeah,
Definitely. And it's so inventive in that it's like a very short film. I think it's like 3 minutes, not even.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
Like
no,
you're jarred. The whole thing is, what is it? These lights.
So, Lights Out is about Rebecca. When she left home, she thought that her childhood fears were left behind her. As a young girl growing up, she was never really sure of what was real when the lights were out at night. Now, her little brother Martin is experiencing the same unexplained and terrifying events that jeopardized her safety and sanity. Holding a mysterious attachment to her mother, a supernatural entity has returned with a family to torment, or with a vengeance. Words. To torment the entire family. So, all of that I don't really care about. That that's not I don't really care what the demon is. It's not even a demon, it's like a fucking, spoilers, person.
Yeah.
Really don't give a shit about any of that.
Yeah.
The thing that makes that movie scary is that fear where you're walking up the fucking steps and you can't see because it's dark down there, and you're convinced that if you do not run as fast as you fucking can up those steps, that something's gonna grab you.
Yeah, your ankles.
That's what that fear is. Like, that's very much like, that's why that movie messed me up. It's like that when it connects to that sleep paralysis movie you watch. You can make shapes in darkness.
Yeah.
Everything looks like something it's not.
Yeah.
There's that Among the Sleep video game that like plays on like a little kid's perspective of the world.
Yeah.
When like you're little and everything's dark and you like can't really see what stuff is, but your imagination is crazy and you just assume it's like a fucking monster. Like there'll be times where I'm sitting in my room and like something will look weird because of the way the light is, because I'll have like my TV on, but the rest of the room will be dark. And I'm convinced that it's like a person crouching like at the foot of my bed.
Yeah.
Like it's just like stuff like darkness is fucking scary because you can't see what is there. You can't see what it is. And like your mind is a powerful thing. Your imagination is it's there.
Yeah.
And it can make you think you're seeing things that aren't there, because of like the way the shadows land or like whatever. And especially if you have anxiety, that is like real. Like I still to this day cannot walk through a room if there's no light in it.
Yeah.
Like or if I do, I'm like terrified. Like I'm like sprinting through that room. I don't even care if I'm knocking stuff over. Like I just need to get through it to wherever the light is, not looking behind me, because if I look behind me, that's where the monster is, and it has gotten me that way.
It's real. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that movie messed me up because it's very much not knowing what's around you. Really just like taking that fear and really just running with it.
Yeah.
And then just like not being in control of your environment because the lights just go out by themselves.
Yeah, because it's inevitable, because it's kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like eventually you're going to have to sleep, or you're like sleeping while you're awake kind of thing, where it's like eventually it's going to get dark. And what happens when it does? Like what is going to come get you? Kind of like Darkness Falls with the Tooth Fairy. Yeah,
something you can't avoid, and it's just super creepy. And the fact that when the lights go out, that's when she gets you.
Yeah.
It just really messes me up.
And like in seconds.
Yeah.
Because that's all it takes.
Yeah, no, that movie messed me up. I really don't like not knowing what's in my space, man.
Yeah, it's a solid thing. I also don't like that people are alive and can murder you.
Yeah, no, it's really
the strangers really beside me.
Time.
Yeah, we're having a time. So those are some fears. Those are some of the films that kind of spread those fears around.
Yeah.
So go watch Creep.
Yeah, actually do. That one's really good.
Yeah.
Lights Out was good too, but like I don't think
probably
you gotta
just
watch like the
short,
movie. I think you should just watch the short film version, because like there is this one scene, this is the last thing I'm gonna say about it, where she's like sitting on her bed and the light's like flickering, and when it's flickering you can like still hear the scraping on the floor.
Oh yeah.
But when it's flickering you can see her like carving shit into like the thing, and then she looks at her. It's so messed up. I hated it.
It was good. It's a good one. Yeah, Creep
like
doesn't have like, I mean, there are jump scares every now and again, but it's more
just him being like,
yeah, it's more related to like This guy's
fucking
really
mask.
fucking creepy, and I'm in the middle of the woods with him. Why?
His fucking
Why did I
mask.
agree to that? Because I deserve to die.
The wolf
Aaron.
mask is the worst thing in the world.
What did he call him? What was his
I
name?
don't fucking know.
Peachfuzz.
Peachfuzz.
Yes.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings. Let's talk about feelings. Okay. And all that spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
So, if it's something you like, it's Peachfuzz
Mm-hmm.
to be the
Why is
mask
that good?
guy because it's
No.
good because he does the whole dance and he has that stupid music that he did that he clearly made up on the spot, and he has that whole horrific story of him in that mask with his wife.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it. And if it's bad, it's Bad Boy Snek.
I'm for it. I
Yeah.
love it. It's great.
So, go ahead.
I just want to say bad boy snake. And I'm like, what are we even rating? Fears?
We're rating like the use
Do
of
I
phobia.
To be
No, I think
fearful?
it's like we're rating like phobias and then also the use of phobias in films, horror films.
I'm going to say bad boy snake. Sometimes I really feel like they aren't as creative as they could be with it. I feel like they just do shit to do it sometimes. And they are not as like creative as they could be. Sometimes, yes. I think in the movies we watched, the short film version very much. In Creep, absolutely. But I've seen countless movies where it's just like, you're just taking all of them, throwing them in there.
Yeah, like American
You're
Horror
like
Story.
haphazardly. You don't really care.
Yeah,
You're not like really trying to say anything.
yeah.
Eh.
I would say I'm gonna give it Peachfuzz just because I'm just thinking it's like it's kind of like a self-fulfilling like market where you have people who are already afraid of those things, so you're catering to them, but now you're also giving new people phobias.
Yeah.
So you're doing more. Like, you're just kind of fueling this thing because I feel like you might not be afraid of dogs if you just see them in real life and no one doesn't attack you. But if you watch Cujo at a young age, you might then be more inclined to be afraid of dogs.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I saw this one murder people. So I think, it's an interesting technique. And it's something that you can't really get wrong. You
Yeah.
know, if it just exists.
Because there's so many phobias, and you could literally
Although I
make a
guess,
movie
yeah,
about
you
any of them.
could portray it incorrectly. Like how people usually portray agoraphobia or something.
Yeah. I just don't like when it's lazy. I like it when it's good. When it's
Yeah.
good, it's 100% Peachfuzz. But when it's lazy and just done like
Yeah. Bad Boy Snek.
for shits and giggles, it's Bad Boy Snake. And also,
Yeah.
I just really like saying
Yeah.
Bad Boy Snake.
Bad Boy Snakes.
I kind of want it like on a t-shirt.
I want it on a leather jacket.
Yeah.
And it's just like
Bad Boy
and it's like a
Snake.
snake. The snakes where they drew in like the arms for it, and it's like doing a snap. And it's like Bad Boy
So
Snake.
it's a lizard.
No, it doesn't have arms. You
what
just
a lizard
drew
is.
arms on it.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you pictures on the internet.
Okay.
But Bad Boy Snek, that's our new club
Yeah,
of
I wanna be on-
motorcycle gangs.
I want to be in gang Bad Boy Snake.
we are the Bad Boy Snakes.
Go.
Or someone make us a cool like pink ladies
Something
jacket,
about
but
rabbits.
with Bad Boy Snake on it.
Yeah.
Someone
fuck,
do it.
that'd be so
Someone
cool.
like us. Okay. So that I think overall, yeah, we're at a little bit Bad Boy Snake, a little bit Peachfuzz, a little bit of Monica in my life, and that was us. We just wanted to bring it down a notch, have you guys see that we're just like you. We're afraid of stuff too, but that's
Yeah.
okay. We can still enjoy ourselves and we can still test ourselves. And if you're really truly scared, face your fears.
Yeah.
And watch it with us.
And you can teach an old dog new fears.
You can. You can, even if that new fear is dogs.
Yeah.
And then that dog makes no friends and it's really sad.
Looks in the mirror. Ah, me.
You can.
I'm scared of that.
I'm afraid of my own reflection. That's, I guess that's a fear. Anyway, not here for therapy.
Don't get married because everyone's a murderer and they eat your kids.
Yes, don't get married because you might work next to Ted Bundy. Also, don't get married. They'll eat your
that correlates
kids.
with each other. Yep.
And as you know, children are scary as well.
Yeah. All your paranoid thoughts, they're real.
Yeah, your fears are valid and we accept you. Now get over it. Change your thought. Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
And listen, I'm so proud of you kids. I'm so glad you guys are really going for this and already, in such a short time made such a big name for yourselves. I'm one of the proudest moms next door you'll ever meet.
I think it is so awesome that you're taking this to just and expanding it in all these different ways, and that people are listening to it and following it, and I just think it's amazing. And I am also the proudest mom next door.